Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be doing my bullet journal setup for the month of July. For those of you who don't know me, I'll be using my Artjourn Olive notebook in the A5 size. It has 192 pages and it's a beautiful deep green color. For any of you interested in the first 6 months of 2020, I have images of my spreads on my Instagram account. The handle is Ruby's Bujo. In the first 6 months, I stuck to an Art Deco theme, and now that we're 6 months into 2020, I'm switching over to Art Nouveau. My supplies today, I'll be using largely the Sakura Pigma Microns, as well as the Jelly Roll Gold pens, which you see here. Also crucial, of course, are my mono erasers. Alright, so let's get started. So here we are starting with my July title page. As you can see, I'm filling out 4 block letters. These were found on Pinterest amongst many other beautiful Art Nouveau typography designs. Part of the reason that I was inspired to do Art Nouveau as my theme, probably for the rest of 2020, is that while I was looking for inspiration for Art Deco themes and designs, I would often come across the Art Nouveau designs as well. There's a lot of beautiful illustrations that you can find on Pinterest. At first I was quite intimidated, as Art Nouveau, if you just Google it, you can see that the illustrations can be quite complex. However, I just couldn't resist because they're so beautiful. So now that the letters are outlined, I'm just filling in the botanical illustrations that came with these letters. This was a lot of fun to do, actually. Obviously, I laid down the pencil draft first, and then now I'm just sort of tracing over with my Pigma Micron. The other reason that I was inspired to do something challenging but could potentially be really rewarding is that July is actually the month of my birthday, and so I thought I'd be a little extra this month. Here you can see the beautiful design for Y, which happens to be my favorite of all the letters in July. These beautiful leaves that come sprouting out. Again, this was just a lot of fun to do and just visually very appealing for me. Here you can see I'm starting to use my Jelly Roll pens to do the border, the very Art Nouveau border around the periphery of the page. Unfortunately, somehow, I think because my battery died, I lost a lot of the footage of the rest of the border coming together, but you can see it here. It was all done with the gold Jelly Roll pen. Here I made sort of a technical error, or an error in judgment. You can see I'm filling in the rest of the page. I had envisioned a nice black background. However, you can tell the pen was just not completely opacifying the background. I tried to correct this by using a different brush pen, and that made it sort of worse, and it became really blotchy and patchy. If anyone has any suggestions for a solution to this problem, a different pen or a different medium, please comment down below so I know next time when I try to make a nice opaque black background what I should use. So here is arguably one of the favorite parts of my pages and my spreads is adding the gold watercolor. It really gives it a beautiful pop. Here I'm using the Coliro Pearl colors. You can see it comes in a set of multiple shades of gold, and the one I'm using is Arabic gold. If you're interested, I can link the specific supplies that I'm using today down below in the information box. And here now you can see I'm using the same Coliro watercolors to just go over the areas that I had filled in with my Jelly Roll in the gold color. And now on to my quote of the month. This is a quote by Sophia Loren about aging. As I am in my 30s, every birthday is a little less fun than the last, but this quote helps me feel a little bit better about getting 1 year older. It says, "There is a fountain of youth. It is your mind, your talents, the creativity you bring to your life and the lives of people you love. When you learn to tap this source, you will truly have defeated age." So I thought that was quite nice and makes me feel a little bit better about getting older. So now I'm moving on to my sleep tracker. For those of you who don't know, I am a physician, which is my day job, and as a result, I don't always get the best sleep since I do take call, and therefore I like to keep a little sleep tracker just to see how I'm doing. My sleep hygiene has never been very good, and so this is a way I can keep track of how much sleep I'm getting and sort of correlate that with my mood. Incidentally, I don't have a mood tracker. I had tried using a mood tracker earlier in the year, but found that, number one, I wasn't really using it or logging it, and number two, it really didn't provide me much information that I couldn't already sort of derive on my own just based on the amount of sleep I was getting and my period, etc., etc. So here I am filling out the days of the week, 31 days in July, and later on after this setup I'll probably go back in once I have my call schedule more figured out and enter the days that I'm on call. Usually, obviously, the days that I get less sleep or interrupted sleep are the days that I am on call. Here I like to go back in with a pencil and just draw in some vertical lines. That way, in the latter half of the month, I can still find the hours of the day a little bit easier. Looking at this now, I'm also kind of shocked at how veiny my hands are. Now I'm going in to add a little punch to the page by, again, using the Sakura Jelly Rolls in gold to fill in my little moon shapes there. Again, just to give a little extra something to the page. And there you have it, my title page for the month of July, all complete with the quote, as well as the second page, which is always my sleep tracker for the month. Now we're moving on to the next page, which is the calendar spread for the month of July. Again, I'm doing these block letters exactly the same as I had them on my title page. I think I didn't really want to change anything up because I love the look of it so much. So I'm just doing that again here. The size of the Pigma microns I'm using here are the 0.01 for the thicker lines, and then I went back in with the 0.005s to do the more detailed work of the flowers and the leaves, as well as that inner line that you see me tracing in along the inside of the letters. So here I'm laying out my calendar. You can see I do one page at a time because the way the book sits, the lines aren't perfectly straight all the way across. My squares are 5 by 5 for this A5 size notebook. Next I did a little flourish here just to fill up that empty space on the left side of the page. Again, a very Art Nouveau sort of design element, which I think looks really great. And here I am just filling it all in. Now the important job of erasing all the pencil marks. And at this point, I can go back in now with my watercolors. This time I'm using a different color. It's called Inca Gold, and I like this color a little bit better, I think, because it goes with the more vintage sort of feel of the Art Nouveau design. Sometimes I feel like the watercolor, when you lay it on pretty thick, can almost create sort of an embossed appearance, or whatever the opposite of embossed is, actually debossed, sort of sticking out at you, sort of puffy appearing. And I think that's really nice as well. Moving on, we get to fill in the numbers of the month. My calendar always starts on a Sunday, and so you can see me filling in the days of the week. Nothing fancy. And for the extra boxes that aren't being put to use, I'm just filling that in with my black pen. And this time around it didn't look quite as terrible as the title page. Probably because the space is a little bit smaller, but again, if you have a better solution to this, then just let me know. I feel like next time I'm just going to leave those areas blank. So here is the first weekly spread of the month of July. I decided to go with a relatively simple spread. I more recently have adopted a more simple approach. If you've seen my other weekly spreads from earlier in the year, you'll know what I mean. But I really enjoyed using the rolling weekly in order to complete all of my tasks each week. And I have found that I really don't need an excessive amount of space for each day of the week. Therefore, this type of spread where I get all of the days of the week on one page and the rolling weekly on the other page seems to work really well for me. And that's what I've sort of... my bullet journal has evolved over time, and it's become this, which is of the most utility for me. I'm using that same font as before, that very Art Nouveau inspired, almost the kind of font that makes you think about the French subway signs. I really liked it a lot. And here I'm doing the same on the tasks page. After erasing away my pencil marks, you can see me going back in with my white Jelly Roll pen just to correct some of the mistakes. I made the lines a little bit too long in 2 of the days of the week. And here I am also correcting some smearing of the pen ink when I was impatient and I went back in with my eraser a little bit too soon. So I really liked that little flourish on the calendar page. So I drew a similar one just to mark out the bottom corner of the task page here. Give it a little extra spice. And again, I think it goes with that Art Nouveau theme quite nicely. So that's it, you guys. That's my monthly setup for the month of July. Here is a quick flip through. It's not that long, just my title and quote page, my sleep tracker, my calendar page or calendar spread with all my events filled in this time around, and then the weekly spread for the first week of July. So that is it, you guys. Thank you for spending time with me. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and I invite you to subscribe as well as find me on Instagram at Ruby's Bujo. Until next time, have a wonderful day and take care.